Are you sure they won't catch us? Are you sure it's safe? Ifunanya asked Chisom and Ezinne with worry written all over her face as they were about to sneak out of the school through a secret path in the fence. This is not our first or second time doing this, so just trust us and tag along. But if you're not bold enough, then go back to the hostel and read your books as usual. Chisom replied to her with an angry face. I wonder why you are asking such a stupid question. Didn't you say you want to be one of us? Ezinne asked as well. Ifunanya didn't want to offend them. She wanted to feel among the big girls of Brian's college, so she summoned courage and sneaked out of school with them. Ifunanya gained admission into Brian's college a few months ago on scholarship as a boarding student. She came from a very poor background, but she was very brilliant and intelligent, so she was fortunate to get a scholarship into Brian's college. When she got to Brian's college, she took her studies very seriously, just as her parents advised her before she left the village for the city. She avoided trouble and made sure not to break any school rules or regulations. However, Ifunanya started getting distracted when she met a girl called Chisom. Unlike Ifunanya, Chisom came from a very rich family. Her parents were politicians, so she had everything she wanted. She was a spoiled child who would often ridicule and bully those from poor families, alongside her partner, Ezinne, who was also from a wealthy home. Ifunanya envied Chisom and Ezinne. She admired the way they lived in school, being able to buy whatever they wanted and the way everyone respected them. So she started getting closer to them. Ifunanya's friends warned her against Chisom and Ezinne, but she stubbornly refused to listen. One day, Chisom and Ezinne told Ifunanya that they would sneak out of school at night to visit a club and they would like her to come with them if she really wanted to be one of them. Ifunanya felt so happy and accepted to join them. When it was time, Ifunanya was scared, but she built the courage and decided to go with them. When they sneaked out of the school compound, Chisom and Ezinne changed into skimpy and short dresses. They also gave a dress to Ifunanya and asked her to wear it, but she wasn't comfortable with the clothes she was given because it was too short and skimpy. This cloth is too short for me. My laps are exposed and my back is open. Don't you have another piece of clothing for me? Are you serious? Too short? You want to go to the club looking like an old woman or what? See, if you won't wear that clothes, go back into the hostel. I told you not to bring this village girl with us. If you won't wear it, then go back into the school and stay away from us. They threatened her again. Ifunanya foolishly succumbed to their threats and wore the clothes that she was given. It was indeed very short and cleaved to her body like glue on paper, revealing her thighs and exposing most of her body. When they had finished preparing, Chisom brought out a cell phone which she hid in her backpack and called a strange number, telling the person that they were ready. In less than 10 minutes, a luxurious car pulled over in front of them and the driver came down to hug Chisom. Then he asked them to enter the car so he would take them to the club. Ifunanya felt uneasy, but she didn't have the courage to refuse. Together, they entered the car with Chisom seated in front while Ezinne and Ifunanya were at the back. The man drove off and in a few minutes they arrived at the club. It was filled with a lot of people and Ifunanya could see a lot of things that she didn't feel comfortable with. She saw some guys smoking outside and she saw some young girls who were with men in uncomfortable positions. Let's go inside, Chisom said, diverting Ifunanya's attention from what she was focused on, and they all entered the club. Inside the club, there were a lot of people drinking and dancing to very loud music. Ifunanya wasn't comfortable. She went to sit by the bar while Chisom and Ezinne went with a guy into a different part of the club. While Ifunanya was seated, looking around the club in shock that such a place should exist, a handsome man came to sit with her. "Hey, beautiful," The man yelled at the top of his voice so that Ifunanya could hear him. "Good evening, sir. My name is Emeka. What is your name? And why is a beautiful girl like you seated all alone?" "I'm sorry. I don't talk to strangers. I'm here with my friends. They will be here soon," Ifunanya replied. "Don't be scared. I won't harm you. I already told you my name. I really like you and would love to be your friend because you are very beautiful." Ifunanya smiled at his compliments. It would be the first time a man would be asking her out, so she felt desired but also scared at the same time because her parents had warned her when she got admission into the boarding school to stay away from boys and focus on her education. There will always be time for boys, so just focus on your education so that they will not be a distraction to you. The words of her mother echoed through her head once again. Ifunanya thanked Emeka for his compliments, but she refused to tell him her name. Emeka tried to convince her, but Ifunanya was determined to stand her ground. So Emeka gave her a piece of paper which contained his number. Just as he was giving Ifunanya the paper, Chisom and Ezinne showed up from where they went. They were very shocked to see Emeka with Ifunanya, but before they got to where Ifunanya sat, Emeka had already left. "Please, I'm not comfortable here. Can we go back to the school before anyone notices that we are missing?" Ifunanya said. "It's early and nobody will know we went out. You need to learn how to calm down, take some drinks and have fun," Chisom said. "Try and blend in. You don't need to show everyone that you're a local girl," Ezinne said. They ordered some shots of alcohol and convinced Ifunanya to take some. But Ifunanya gave up after gulping the first shot. It was her first time taking alcohol and it didn't taste too nice. So she just sat and watched as Chisom and Ezinne danced with different men, drinking and smoking until the early hours of the morning when they took a cab back to school. They changed their clothes once again and sneaked back into the hostel without being caught. When it was morning, the two girls asked Ifunanya, "The guy that was with you at the club when we left, what were you both discussing about?" "Do you know who he is?" Ezinne asked. "No. He said his name is Emeka and he would like to be my friend, but I told him I'm not interested. He gave me his number though." They became surprised. Ezinne moved closer to Ifunanya and told her who Emeka was. "Emeka is one of the wealthiest men in this town. He has a big house and many cars. Imagine having someone like him as your boyfriend. You would lack nothing in life." "But I don't want or need a boyfriend. My parents warned me about being close to any man or boy. They asked me to focus on my studies," Ifunanya replied. "Why are you so childish? Don't you want to have a phone of your own with enough money to buy whatever you want to eat without waiting for only what they serve at the canteen? I have a boyfriend, yet I'm doing well academically. So who says having a boyfriend would make you fail in your studies? Please bring his number, let us call him immediately." Ifunanya was doubtful at first, but she foolishly listened to them. She brought out the piece of paper and they called him using a hidden mobile phone. Then they gave the phone to Ifunanya and they went out to check if anyone was coming because they were not allowed to use mobile phones in the boarding school. The phone rang for some time before Emeka picked up the call. "Hello, who is this?" Ifunanya was scared at first, but she greeted him and told him that she was the girl he gave his number to the previous night. Emeka instantly remembered Ifunanya and they started conversing. Emeka and Ifunanya became very close after that day and would often talk on the phone. Every weekend, Ifunanya would sneak out with Chisom and Ezinne to go and see Emeka, who would take them to the club and lavish money on them. Emeka got Ifunanya her own phone and it didn't take long before she fell deeply and madly in love with Emeka. Ifunanya stopped taking her studies seriously. She started living a wayward life, just like Chisom, and her academics started to suffer. She also stopped hanging around her previous serious friends and belonged to Chisom's crew. One fateful weekend, when they all sneaked out as usual to meet Emeka, But this time, Emeka didn't take them to the club. He took them to his house. He told them it was his birthday and he was having a birthday party at his house. When he got there, the girls were surprised at how big and beautiful his house was. There were a lot of people already at his house, drinking and partying to very loud music. Emeka told Ifunanya that he had a present for her in his room, and Ifunanya trusted him enough to follow him into his room. When they got to his room, Emeka locked the door and showed Ifunanya a brand new gown which was very beautiful. However, he told Ifunanya to sleep with him before she could take the gift with her. Ifunanya was shocked at his request and told him, "I'm sorry, I don't think I can let you sleep with me. I made a vow that I would keep my virginity until my wedding night for my husband." "But you love me and I've also promised to marry you. Just give me your body and I promise to give you anything you want." Ifunanya refused Emeka's advances despite all his tactics, and it only got him upset. He pushed her to the bed and started tearing her clothes. Ifunanya screamed and screamed at the top of her voice, but no one could hear her because of the music in the party that was very loud. Emeka eventually had his way with her and forcefully took away her virginity, leaving her heartbroken and betrayed. Then he left her upstairs and returned back to the party. Ifunanya cried her eyes out. Her clothes were already torn, so she had to wear the brand new beautiful gown which Emeka bought for her. When she came downstairs, Chisom saw her and was so carried away by the gown she was wearing that she didn't even notice the pains on Ifunanya's face and how her legs trembled as she walked. "Please take me back to the hostel," Ifunanya said with tears streaming down her cheeks. Chisom saw that Ifunanya was deeply in pain, and together with Ezinne, they sneaked back into the hostel that night. When they got back, Ifunanya narrated all that happened to them, but to her greatest surprise, they were not even remorseful by what they had. Instead, they told Ifunanya, "Why are you behaving like a child? Did you really expect him to buy all those things without asking you for anything in return?" Ezinne said to her, "Would you rather be a virgin and live like a slave or enjoy life to the fullest? There's always a first time for everything, so please, it's not a big deal." Ifunanya was hurt badly by their words. She broke down in tears and blamed them for all that happened to her, but they didn't care. They simply walked away and asked Ifunanya to get drugs for the pain. From that day henceforth, Ifunanya stayed away from them because she learned her lesson the hard way. Emeka continued calling her, but she warned him to stay away from her and never call her again. She wished she had listened to her friends when they asked her to be mindful of the friends she kept and the people she was envying. Ifunanya took her studies seriously once again and avoided distraction, but little did she know that it was just the beginning of her problems. One fateful morning, Ifunanya woke up feeling nauseous and weak. She felt a rumble in her stomach and rushed to the restroom to vomit some white substance. She had no idea what was wrong with her until one of her very close friends, whose mother was a doctor, told her that she is pregnant. Ifunanya doubted her at first until she tested herself with a pregnancy kit and got a positive result. She broke down in tears, confused and depressed. She didn't know what to do. She thought of telling her parents, but she couldn't bring herself to confess all the foolish things she had done to them. After thinking for a while, she decided to call Emeka. When she finally got the courage to call Emeka, he picked up the phone and recognized her voice instantly. "Good girl. I can see you have finally regained your senses. Should I be expecting you this weekend?" Emeka said. "Emeka, I'm calling to tell you that I am pregnant." Emeka kept silent for a while. Then he said, "How is that my business? You better go and look for the father of your bastard child instead of trying to pin it on me." Ifunanya could not believe her ears. She looked at the phone screen to be sure it was truly Emeka she was talking to. The same Emeka who had promised to marry her, who swore he would love her with all his heart. "Emeka, what do you mean? You're the first man to see my nakedness. You forcefully had your way with me and now you're trying to deny the pregnancy." "Look here, my friend. It is better you go and terminate that bastard in your womb or go out there and find the real father. Please, don't ever call my line again. Immediately Emeka said this, he disconnected the call and blocked Ifunaya's number. Ifunaya tried to call him back, but his number didn't connect. Out of desperation, she sneaked out of the hostel the next week and went to Emeka's house. But she got the shock of her life when she saw him with a woman who claimed to be his wife and 2 beautiful children. It was at that moment that Ifunaya knew that she was doomed. She returned to the hostel and cried her eyes out. When she realized she had no choice, she went to meet Chisom and Ezinne once again, pleading for their assistance to terminate the pregnancy, but they also pushed her away. "You're on your own, no, Ifunaya. I don't want to have anything to do with you," Chisom said to her. "You always act like you are holier than all of us. Please, don't implicate us with your foolishness." Ifunaya felt hopeless. She started searching the internet for ways to terminate a pregnancy. Unfortunately for her, she found a website where people listed some strange drugs. Ifunaya bought the drugs and took it without proper prescription. It didn't take long before it started to react in her body and she started bleeding seriously. She was rushed to the school clinic and eventually transferred to a bigger hospital for surgery in order to save her life. After the surgery was completed, her parents were notified and the principal of the school was informed. They were told that Ifunaya tried to abort a pregnancy by taking the wrong medication, which almost cost her life. They were able to save her life. However, she lost her womb in the process and wouldn't be able to give birth to children anymore. When Ifunaya got the news, she cried and cried, but her tears could not change the past or the wrong decisions she made. She spent the rest of her life in shame and pain as a lesson to other students so they wouldn't make the same mistake she did. Chisom and Ezinne were also expelled from the school for breaking the rules and regulations of the school, and Emeka was arrested by the police for forcefully sleeping with Ifunaya. The moral lesson of this story reminds us to be mindful of the friends we keep and do not be tempted to involve yourself in things that you are not comfortable with just because you want to please anybody. No matter how pressured you may be, always remember your moral principles and stick to it. Don't forget where you come from. In all you do, let it be at the back of your mind. With each decision you make, ask yourself if your folks back at home would be proud of it or not.